So I'm continuing my playthrough of Lamplight City. A newish point-and-click adventure game. I had just finished Case 3, and I think I'm jumping into Case 4 here. Actually, not Case 4 yet. I'm here voting. Maybe I should have been paying attention earlier in the game to all the voting conversations.
An ad for a brothel. At least they seem to know their audience. Yeah, at least you're already registered to vote. Having to go through that bureaucratic nightmare tonight would have just added insult to injury. I thought they were trying to encourage people to vote. With all these rules, it's a wonder anyone bothers. A list of fools who think their opinion will actually make a difference.
So, I think this is the type of character that would vote for the stop technology. For better or worse.
Excuse me.
Yes, how may I help you?
Atwood seems quite fond of advancing steam tech, doesn't he?
That he does. He's promised to fund research of ethericity, as well as introduce more automated technology to increase production and boost Vespuccia's economy. If social progress and futurism are important to you, you'd be wise to vote for him.
Is that your official endorsement?
No, sir. Merely stating the facts.
Leroy is really pushing this whole man of the people angle, isn't he?
Indeed. He wants to minimize the use of steam tech and ensure that people all have jobs. Leroy doesn't believe that ethericity exists, and instead wants to look into more practical energy sources. He also wants to prioritize the building of the bridge between Gascon and the Chum. I recommend taking those facts into consideration when making your choice in the booth.
Where is everybody?
I'm not sure. I was told to expect large crowds, but so far we haven't had more than about 50 people in here. The polls have only been open for a couple of hours, though. I imagine things will pick up around 8 o'clock.
Or it could just be that everyone has come to their senses and isn't wasting their time.
I'll just go cast my ballot then.
Very good, Mr. Fordham.
Better not wait. Well, that's taken care of. Thankfully, the Angel isn't a polling place, so we can still have a nice quiet evening.
What? My head is pounding. Damn withdrawal.
Actually, I think someone's knocking at the door.
Oh, right.
Should have listened to your mother. You should have practiced. Mostly cookbooks. Yeah, at least you won't have to worry about starving while you're staying here. Not a very inspiring piece. Hell, I could probably paint it better. Looks like that umbrella's gotten some good use. It was quite the rainstorm we had yesterday. A lady silhouette. Pretty sure it just means the artist wasn't talented enough to draw her for real. Some fool in a hat. I never understood the appeal of silhouette portraits. What a handsome couple. Judging by the uncanny resemblance, I'd say these are Upton's parents.
wonder if my vote, which one did I vote for again, would have changed that. Well, actually, it was 73% no.
Therein lies Upton's boudoir. As a matter of respect, the less...
Good afternoon, miss. If you're looking for Miss Upton, I'm afraid she's not in right now.
No, I've already spoken with Miss Upton. I'm looking for Mr. Miles Fordham.
Oh, I see. Well, I'm Miles Fordham. What can I do for you, Miss...
Mrs. Emily Morgan. I have a problem, you see. Miss Upton said you'd be able to help.
I suppose you'd better come in. So, what seems to be the trouble?
It's my brother, Ronan Lespay. He was murdered 4 nights ago outside a tavern in the Chum.
How unfortunate. Please, go on.
The police took his body to the mortuary and investigated the crime scene, but they're out of ideas. I've been down there at the station every day, but they don't seem to care enough to look into it any further. All they've been able to determine was that it wasn't a robbery, and that the clothes he was wearing weren't his. My brother was a good man, Mr. Fordham. He would never have willingly gone to that part of town. I need to know why he was murdered, and I want whoever did it to pay for it.
Very well, Mrs. Morgan. I'll take your case.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Fordham.
I just need to know where your brother was killed, and where I might be able to contact you.
He was found outside the Silent Raven. It's on Alewife Avenue, on the west side of the Chum. Here, take this. It's a photo of Ronan. It might help your investigation. And if you need to speak with me, you can come to my husband's bakery. It's here in Worcester, at 15 Drummond Street.
Very good. I'll begin my investigation right away.
Thank you again, Mr. Fordham. You have no idea how much this means to me.
Well, this case has our names written all over it. Maybe it'll be good practice for finding the man who caused my death, eh? It's an ad for whiskey. Or perhaps paint thinner. Sometimes it can be hard to tell the difference. These advertisements are all at least 10 years out of date. I suppose you could do worse. Your mascot seems to be a raven with a glowing red eye. Is that meant to attract customers or to scare them off? My, this grog shop looks pretty rough, even by Chum standards. Best keep a low profile while you're in here, Miles.
Wasn't this guy in the... what you gonna call it? The coffee house too?
Doesn't look like cleaning up is high on the list of priorities around here. Looks like that's where they keep the good stuff. Of course, around here, good is an extremely relative term.
Excuse me, barmaid?
Hi, what do you need?
You know a man named Ronan Lespay?
Nah, never heard of him.
He was killed here 4 nights ago. A man in this ferrotype.
Oh, that one. Well, I never saw him before that night, and I didn't talk to him. You with the police or something?
No, not at all. I'm just trying to help his sister find out what happened.
So are you done with the questions? Can I get you a drink or what?
Yeah, she's a shrewd businesswoman. You at least have to give her that.
Were you working on election night?
Pal, I'm here most every night.
So that's a yes, then?
Christ on a cracker, you ain't too bright, are you? Yes, I was here on election night.
There's no need to be rude about it, madam. Tell me what you know about the murder that took place outside on election night.
Listen, chum, do you know how busy we were that night? This was a polling place. We had gents coming in and out for hours, not to mention the regular clientele. I was up to my ass in drink orders and was running the shift all by myself. Had to break up God knows how many fights, too. So you'll excuse me if I didn't exactly notice something that happened out on the street.
Did you at least hear the gunshot?
No, I didn't. You try distinguishing a gunshot over a room full of rowdy voters. It ain't gonna happen.
What can you tell me about this place?
It's a bar. People come here to drink. Sometimes people drink too much, and then they're sick all over. I get the honor of cleaning up the mess.
Sounds like you're not too pleased with your job.
I never said that. There may be rough days, but there's a lot worse I could be doing. Here, I get a place to sleep and a bit to eat and a few coins in my pocket if the customers are pleased. And you are pleased, ain't you, sir?
Oh, yes. Yes, of course I am.
Good.
You mentioned regular clientele. Who are they?
Oh, we get plenty of regulars in here, too many to name.
Which of them were here on election night?
Let me think. I remember seeing 3 of the usual crowd. There was Darius, up to no good as always. Then there was Singin' Tom, but he wasn't around for too long. And how could I forget old Cormac? He'd have talked my ear off if I'd let him.
Sound like an interesting bunch of folks.
Where might I find the landlord?
You won't find him anywhere. He doesn't come around here more than once a month.
What can you tell me about Darius?
Hey now, bucko. You've come in here asking me all these questions, but I ain't seen nothing from you. You want more information? You're gonna have to earn it.
Right. Give me a gin, then.
Coming right up.
Don't get carried away now, Miles.
There you are. 1 gin. That'll be 2 shillings.
There's 3. Now then, about Darius.
Now that man is trouble. I've had to throw him out a few times.
Why do you say he's trouble?
His mind's affected by the poppy seed. He can be gentle as a kitten or fly into a rage at a moment. When he gets rowdy, he gets chucked.
I see. Any idea where I might be able to find him?
Don't know why you'd want to find him, but I hear he spends his day at a smokehouse nearby. I believe it's on Crisparkle Lane. Just look for the door with the oriental symbols above it.
And could you describe him to me?
He's a rough-looking sort, about 55 years old, has a scar on his left cheek, grayish hair, medium build.
Excellent. Thank you. Who is Singing Tom?
Ah, Tom. Not sure what his surname is, but he's in here about twice a week. We call him Singin' Tom because he leads the church choir.
Is that right? Which church?
Oh, I haven't a clue. Never really cared to ask.
Does he associate with any of the other regulars?
I've seen him talking with Darius a few times. They seem to be on friendly terms.
Tell me about Cormac.
He's in here most every night. Doesn't speak to many people, just me. And a right chatterbox he is, too. Between you and me, Cormac stinks. I can understand why he doesn't keep much company.
He stinks?
Aye, he's a sewer worker. Spends all his day underground in the muck, so he always reeks of shit.
I see. Any idea where specifically he works?
I believe he's at the treatment station, over near the ferry terminal.
If this is going where I think it is, then I'm especially glad I can't smell anything anymore.
Have you worked here long?
13 years.
I see. Anything else you can tell me about yourself?
I ain't the friendly type.
Right. Understood. Any thoughts on the election?
Nah, couldn't care less, really. Doesn't matter who's in charge. My life ain't getting any better.
Surely it'll get better with Leroy in office.
We'll see.
I appreciate you taking the time to chat.
Yeah.
She... I wonder how many layers of advertisements you'd have to cut. Crisparkle Lane. Nothing crisp or sparkly about it. I can't make heads or tails of it, but I'll bet you 10 credits.
Yes? What do you want?
I'm looking for a man named Darius. I believe he may be inside.
Yeah, I don't know anybody with that name. So if that's all you wanted, get lost.
Might I come in, please?
This is private property, and I don't know.
My name is Miles Fordham, and I'm a private investigator. I demand you let me in the name of the law.
The law? Is this your idea of a joke?
You got me.
I think you need a better.
Nothing.
Stop wasting my. You again?
Nothing.
Stop.
So this is what it's come to, eh? Braving the stench of human waste in hopes of finding a lead? Just make sure you stay away from the edge. While you could use a bath, handy to know where you are. Some sort of water treatment device would be my guess. For all I know, another mysterious device. I was happier not knowing all this went on after.
Begging your pardon.
What? Who are you?
My name's Miles Fordham. I'm looking for a sewer worker.
We needn't look no further.
I just have a few...
All right. Cormac will answer. It can be dangerous down here for anyone who's...
You know a man named Ronan Lespay?
Cormac knows few men. People don't much like talking to a man who can't really blame him for it. It's hard to get a stink off, so why bother even trying?
You didn't answer my question, though. Do you know Ronan Lespay?
Could you describe him? Cormac's got a better memory.
I have his portrait.
Ah, yes. Cormac saw this fellow recently.
On election night?
That's right. He come into the bar, voted, went out. Looked drunk to Cormac, but...
Do you frequent a pub?
Yes. The Raven is where Cormac goes to forget about the days. The barmaid, Nicole, she's a good sort. We likes talking about the ponies down at the track. Nikki loves her some racing. She gives Cormac drinks for cheap in exchange for odd jobs. Nice to have your own personal sewer man. She's really the only one Cormac talks to. There's a few others Cormac sees often, but...
Cripes. This guy goes on and on.
Do you know anything about the murder that took place outside?
Murder? Ah, yes. The commotion out in the alleyway.
That's right. Did you see or hear anything?
It was a touch noisy that night, what with all the election stuff happening, but Cormac remembers the sound of the gun. One shot, and then a few people run outside to look at what happened. But
So you didn't see the man who was shot, or who shot him?
no, keeps to himself, Cormac does.
Could he be any more unhelpful?
Is it difficult being...
Difficult? Nah, it's a dream. Especially since they introduced the only thing Cormac's got to do is check the little dial never goes into the red on old Belinda.
Belinda?
Aye, the purifier. She's a real special lady who's made Cormac's life so much.
Wonderful.
Wasn't so easy a few years ago. Back then it was tapping on pipes all day
Tapping on pipes?
to make sure they was flowing fine and not blocked. Cormac would take his little hammer and tap, tap, tap on the pipes to make sure. You can imagine what that was like. Tap, tap, tap. The tapping stopped, but the ringing never left. Still,
Do you have any opinion?
Cormac hears lots of things about Atwood, but he's the one what's got this new machinery put into the sewer system. There's still a job for Cormac, so all that talk about being replaced by machines is just talk, for now. But Leroy says he wants to give the workers their fair chance, so Cormac can't argue with that. What about you?
I think Leroy will be a good prime minister.
Bah, they's all the same in the end. One way or another. No point worrying, says old Cormac.
I'll let you return to your work.
Be mindful on your way out.
All right, Mr. Chavez. The cake and muffins come to a total of 6 crowns, 10 shillings.
There you are, Mrs. Morgan. And thank you again. Barbara is going to love this.
My pleasure. Enjoy.
Pardon me, sir.
I'm sure Barbara will enjoy them, the cow. Ah, Mr. Fordham. Welcome.
Thank you, Mrs. Morgan.
Those look nice, but given the choice, I'll always side with pie over cake. A bunch of assorted baking products. Don't waste your time with those, Miles. The stuff in that day-old box doesn't look half bad. More like 3/4 bad. Well, I never had much of a sweet tooth, but even I'd consider buying some of this stuff. You know, if I were still alive. Minor detail, I know. A very wise man once told me, never go poking around the back.
Have you got time for a few?
Yes,
What can you tell me?
Ronan was the best brother. He took care of me after our parents died. Carriage accident. I was only 9 and he was 13. Ronan went out and found work and managed to support the both of us. He was just a child himself, but he kept us out of the gutter. Or worse, the workhouse.
How did you hear of his death?
Ronan comes by to visit me every day after he finishes work. When he didn't come for 2 days in a row, I got worried. I went to his apartment, but he wasn't there. So I made a report to the police. Yesterday, they contacted me.
I'm terribly.
Thank you, Mr. Fordham. Please.
What do you know about your...
Only what the police. He was shot at close range. Nothing was missing, and his wallet had money in it. So I didn't recognize the clothes he was wearing. I had never seen them before. I still can't.
Dr. Edwards at the mortuary might be able to give us some more detailed information. The only thing we'll get at...
What sort of...
You know, he'd go to work, come visit me afterwards, and go home. He didn't have much of a social life. At least he never... I always hoped Ronan would meet a nice girl to settle down with.
Where did Ronan...
At the Grips Home Taxidermy Shop in Gascone. I always thought it was rather macabre work, but a bit lonely though.
Can you give me the...
It's at 1172 Bush.
That would be most... So, this is your bakery.
My husband Gerald and I have had it for almost 10 years.
Is it just the two of you?
Alas, no. Some extra hands would be most welcome. It's such a shame that Ronan never got...
What are your thoughts on the outcome?
Oh, I haven't given it much thought, to be honest.
Yes, of course. Those are all the questions.
All right.
A very...
I was beginning to.
Well, wonder no longer.
Oh, I see how it is. He helped you solve a case, and now you don't have to.
That's just the way it goes, Upton. Maybe next time you should pick a nicer coffee.
Right. You know the way. Snelling isn't.
Well, that's a relief. Can we talk for...
Certainly.
You wouldn't happen to know anything about Ronan Lespay, would you?
Probably nothing more than you already know. His body is in the mortuary, and the reason for his murder. I suggest you speak with.
How are things?
Better than last week, but plenty of.
What happened?
You have to ask. Snelling was not happy with you turning up at the Latham crime. He was a right inquisition around here. Snelling going around to interrogate everyone, trying to.
So he suspects.
I'm afraid so. I managed to calm him. He thinks someone on the force is speaking to the Gazette.
Well, that's some kind. I'm sorry you had to go through.
Oh, don't worry. Well, maybe.
Would you happen to have any information on the
I know there is one, but that's about it. The department doesn't have the manpower to bother keeping files on that.
So no idea how.
I'm afraid not. They're almost like exclusive high society clubs in their own.
Interesting observation. That was.
That it was. I don't know how he managed it, but
I feel the same. Atwood seemed convinced he had it in the bag.
I think he just grossly underestimated how much the Lygia disaster affected everyone. Thought we could go on like. Hell, if Prince Harold hadn't been aboard, we would have.
I'm guessing.
I have to distance myself. So when you figure it out, you'll need to speak. I can still try and help you if there's.
I'll let you get back to.
And.
I hope I'm not.
Ah, Fordham. Always a.
Have you got time?
Of course.
So what can you tell me about?
Caucasian male, approximately 27 years old. Died of blood. He was brought in 4 nights ago. I performed. After that, his next of kin was contacted.
Any personal opinions on?
And robbery doesn't appear to be a motive. Since it's beyond that, your guess is as good as mine.
Better, I hope.
Did the post-mortem reveal anything?
Quite a few things, actually. Mr. Lespay was extremely inebriated when the shooting took place. There was enough alcohol in his blood to presume he had been drinking for hours before his death. I also managed to remove the bullet from his heart. It's a .36 caliber lead ball, standard revolver shot. It shouldn't be too hard to match to a weapon, provided you can find it.
Did you notice anything unusual?
Unusual? Not really.
His sister seemed convinced that they didn't belong to him.
That's a distinct possibility, but I couldn't say for sure. He could have just been a...
So no murder weapons?
That's right. Either the killer still has it, or the police just overlooked it. If you happen across any weapons in your investigation...
Thank you, Edwards. I'll be on the... How's the court?
Things have been pretty dead around here.
Don't quit your day job. What are your thoughts on...
There was an election?
I think our friend Edwards needs...
I'll be going now.
Take care. And remember, not everyone gets to leave the morgue alive.
It's important to keep... I wonder if Edwards ever got around to fixing this typewriter.
Hello, and welcome to the Gripsome Taxidermy Shop.
Is... I wonder how many people it took to break... There's a small button on the base. Just when I thought I'd seen it all. What will they think of next? Reminds me of the one in the Dupre house. Except that one actually looked... There's a small button on the base.
Welcome to the Gripsome Taxidermy Shop. Please enjoy our display. Just a reminder,
That leads into a room with even more dead things. I thought owls were supposed to be wise. Exotic dead fauna from every other kind. Exotic dead...
I was wondering if you might answer some questions for me.
Of course. What can I help you with?
I was told Ronan Lespay works here.
Ronan? That is to say, I know he works here. I haven't had much interaction with him.
Does he have an office or work?
Now, wait just a minute. Why would I let some random stranger...
Because I'm a private investigator and I'm trying to get some information.
Well, even if that is the case, I'm afraid Ronan does have a workspace, but it's completely bare. He doesn't keep anything.
Were you aware that Ronan was murdered 4 nights ago?
I had no idea. That's awful.
That's what I'm currently trying to find out. Do you know if Ronan had any enemies? Anyone?
No, as I said, I did. But now that I think about it, I did notice a strange man waiting around outside the shop a few days ago.
Tell me about this.
At the time, I didn't think much of him, but the more I recall, the more I realized.
What did he do?
He just stood outside across the street, but he seemed to be focusing on the building. It was as though he was waiting for someone.
Do you remember what this man looked like?
I didn't get a very good look at him, but I do remember some things. He was tall and had a heavy build, like a boxer or a dock worker. He had a beard, I think, or mutton chops at the very least. And as far as I can recall, he was wearing all black. He also had on some kind of cap. I'm sorry I can't give you a better description, but that's all I was able to do.
It'll have to do. Thank you for your help. Anything you can tell me?
Plenty! This is New Britannia's most sophisticated taxidermy shop. Unlike other taxidermists, we work with modern technology to get results they could only dream of.
What does that mean exactly?
Using steam tech, we are able to create the illusion of life in these beasts. Just take a look at our floor samples. The parrot and gorilla are two of our finest works. They really speak for themselves. Well, the parrot does at least. I think it would frighten our customers if the gorilla did too. And once ethericity is harnessed as a viable source of energy, we'll get even better results.
This guy is way too excited.
Yes. Fast. So how did you...
Oh, it isn't a terribly exciting story, I'm afraid. I never expected to learn so much.
I'm sure he's amazing.
Any thoughts on...
I'd really rather not talk about it. I don't know how the people of this country could put someone like...
It's obviously because he holds the interests of the country.
So, you're just like all the other cowards who think steam tech is dangerous. Well, I hope you like the idea of living in the...
Perhaps it's best if we drop this. Thank you for...
I'm...
Quite the collection of exotic items in here. Ronan appears to be a seasoned world traveler.
Or at least knows someone.
Locked, naturally. Just looking at this painting is making... This mask looks African. You should... This one is... Wait a moment. I think I saw something shiny in the back of the mouth.
How about that?
Some kind of owl mask. Some kind of... Ronan's book collection mostly consists of cheap... It's in another language, but no title, and it appears to be blank. I wonder if Ronan just kept empty books on his shelf to appear. I had an illustration that looked similar to that one. I wonder where it ended up. I guess Ronan won't be realizing his world travel dreams now. Ronan wasn't too concerned with comfort, apparently. This is... Now to find out what... Aha! A letter from someone called Jimbo? This one appears to be from... a model of the SS Joondalup. Looks like a merchant vessel to me. Ooh, this teacup could use a washing. Looks like you found Ronan's journal. Perhaps this will be...
There are 2 entries, one from this year and one from last.
So, start with last year's.
July 8th, 1843. I've decided I need to get out more, so I'm going to a club in Gascon tonight. Stuffing animals has taken its toll, and I need to talk to someone who isn't Emily or my coworkers. Gerald told me about a place called the Crimson Cat. I'll try it, and if I don't enjoy myself, I'll just come home. Now for this year's entry. July 8th, 1844. Today is our 1-year anniversary. We're going to meet at the Cat again. I love him, but I wish he wasn't so attached to that place. Emily is so nosy, I worry that she might follow me and discover the truth about Jimbo. If we moved around, I wouldn't worry, but with him, it's always the Crimson Cat. I really shouldn't complain, though. What we have is something truly special.
Well, it seems that our best hope of finding this Jimbo character is to visit the Crimson Cat.
Let's see. November 9th, 1843. I have an uneasy feeling of dread today. Last night I had a frightening dream where fire rained from the sky and people were afflicted with an awful disease. I'm just going to focus on my work today. November 9th, I'm just going to focus on my work. October 21st, 1843. The air is growing cold. I don't think this entry. March 11th, 1844. I must have eaten something last night which didn't agree with me.
Probably best to...
Agreed. November 9th, 1840. Last night, These long periods away are the most difficult, but all the time seems to disappear when I see him again. My solace is that he will return with plenty of tales of adventure. I can hardly wait to hear them. February 24th, These long periods away are the most difficult. My solace is that he will return.
They appear to be a pair of letters. Some kind of owl mask. The hair looks incredibly familiar.
Yeah, so this guy was gay.
This place has been around for quite some time. That well-dressed feline is red. The official... Call me old-fashioned. Looks like a...
Beg your pardon. Your name wouldn't happen to be Jimbo, would it?
Yeah? Who's asking?
Miles Fordham, private investigator.
Can a guy enjoy his shore leave without being harassed by the law? I've done nothing wrong.
I didn't say you had, and I'm most certainly not the law. I just want to ask you a few questions.
All right, fine.
You know Ronan the Spey?
I knew him, yeah.
Knew him?
He and I haven't spoken recently. In about a month, actually. Things didn't go so well last time.
How do you mean?
Let's just say we didn't part on the best of terms. He made it very clear that he didn't want to speak to me again.
Were you aware that Ronan was murdered?
What? No, when? What happened?
He was shot outside a tavern in Chumley 4 nights ago.
Chumley? What was he doing there?
I was hoping perhaps you could tell me.
I honestly don't know. Ronan hardly went out, and he especially never crossed the river.
Why was that?
I think he was just too scared of the world to go out and see it for himself. He was happy enough reading about it in his books or collecting things I brought him back from my travels. Honestly, that's what I liked most about him. He was just an average boy. It was just the sort of balance I needed.
That's pretty much the exact same reason I always enjoyed working.
You and Ronan had a special relationship.
Mr. Fordham, we're in an underground club. You don't have to tap dance around it. Yes, Ronan and I were a couple. At least,
What happened?
we had a misunderstanding. Ronan thought I had been seeing someone else. I tried to explain that he had it all wrong. I was going to give him some time to cool off, but, well...
If it's any consolation...
Damn. Thank you.
Where does the name Jim...
It's just a nickname. My real name's James Bowcroft.
And what is it you do?
I'm a sailor. I thought you detective types were supposed... Shouldn't you be able to tell me what my occupation was just by looking at my fingernails?
Sorry to disappoint. Perceptiveness is important in my line of work, but...
I think perhaps Jimbo has been reading too many of those.
Do you have any...
Not really. I'm usually way at sea, so I don't keep up. Anyway, I can't vote, so it's...
But you're still affected by the decisions...
Not very fair.
No, but hopefully Mr. Leroy...
Wouldn't that be?
Thank you for your time.
You're welcome.
Have you got time for...
Yes.
Are you familiar with
No.
a friend of...
No. I especially don't recall.
Those are all the questions.
All right.
To think, in an instant, a man's life can be reduced to some scribbles on the filthy pavement.
Now's not the time to get poetic, Bill.
What a mess.
Excuse me.
Hi.
I was given the physical description of a man.
Perhaps.
He's tall, strong build, with a beard or mutton chops, dressing all in black and
Bit vague, wouldn't you say? That covers about...
I was afraid that might be the case. Did you... I appreciate...
Yeah.
Yesterday's rain has made the water level rise significantly. Is it just me, or does it look like there's something resting at the bottom of the drain?
If there is, I have no way of getting to it through the drain cover.
Securely fastened, unfortunately for you. If only there was some way to undo these... What a... To think in an...
Now's not the time.
To think...
Now's...
These advert... It's an ad for...
You again?
I was told this was the place to come if I...
Ah, please.
They're really dedicated to their theme in here, aren't they? Poor horse. At least they provide their... Now I see why they... Now I... She's not gonna be much help right now.
Excuse me, I'm looking for a...
Well, look no further.
I'll stand, if that's all right.
Questions are the path to enlightenment. Answers fly by as birds on the breeze. But will a caged bird sing? That is the true question.
Wonderful. He's as high as a kite. This is gonna be worse than...
Are you familiar with him?
I know many men. Some old, some I know by name. But this man you speak of, this Ronan, he is unfamiliar to me.
I have a ferrotype. Do you recognize him?
Forgive me, but my eyes are blurry. I kinda make out his features.
Well, he's useless. Too bad there's no way to snap him out of it.
Do you know anything about the murder outside the Silent Raven on election night?
Murder?
It was. A man was shot in cold blood.
That would explain the commotion.
So you heard the gunshot?
I did. I thought it might have been one of the voting machines making...
Did you see or hear anything before you?
I seem to remember hearing
A name?
Yes. It sounded like...
Well, how about that? He's managed to be of some use.
And does the name Priscilla mean...
Afraid not.
What can you tell me?
Ah, the Raven.
I would have thought that was this place. Unless this one is just the...
Do you have many friends there? People you speak with often?
Yes, friends. I call them friends anyway, but really, what is a friend? Someone who drinks with you? Someone who shares secrets with you? Are those friends? My father used to tell me that the only two friends you had were your mother. Well, both of those are gone now.
I don't know, sir.
The barmaid, Nicole, she gets mad at me sometimes.
Have you ever conversed?
Singing Tom.
I'm not sure. I was just told he was called...
That's the man. I see him in here all the time.
In here? Not...
Tom is a child of the poppy, just as I am.
Do you know where I might be able to...
Yes. He's the choir master at St. Denis Cathedral. That's where he spends his time when...
You mean to tell me we have to talk to another one?
Do you off...
Oh, yes. This place is better.
Sure.
I'm ill, sir. Just as you are. Just as we all...
Speak for yourself.
But spend a few hours in here with the intoxicating nectar of the poppy.
So...
Please don't buy... Why should I care who leads the government? As long as they don't outlaw play...
Is this guy ignorant or just apathetic?
I was wondering if you could tell me whether you saw a certain man at the... He's tall, of strong build.
Lots of people like that go to the Raven. But... now that you mention it...
How so?
I remember one of the times he came in, he was adjusting his hat. I could have sworn when he took it off for just a moment, his hair was bright red.
How is that strange, exactly?
Because his beard was jet black. It was the oddest thing I'd seen. Well, it was the oddest thing I'd seen. Until his beard slid halfway down his face.
I see.
Wonderful. This testimony is... And again...
Goodbye, sir.
Goodbye, young man.
She's not gonna... Some kind of owl mask. This angel looks like it would throw its lamp at you as soon... Now this is one intriguing chest. Heh, prayer candles? People think lighting one of these is gonna solve their problems. If only it were that easy. Also, what happens if they go out? Does that mean your prayer gets canceled? Shh! What? It's an important question! The more I think about it, the more I want to... Well, that's all of them. This looks like... What a racket. I'm glad you're not a member of this church. Sitting through Sunday Mass would drive me insane. Now this...
I beg your pardon. Are you Tom Puffin?
I am. How may I help you?
Miles Fordham, private...
Questions?
No, Mr. Puffin.
Very...
What were you doing?
Election night.
It was 4 nights ago, to be...
Oh, you have to understand. I have trouble recalling what I ate.
Well, isn't that
Do try to remember.
Well, I know I voted. And then...
Do you know anything about... Yes, a man was...
I don't remember.
How long were you at the Raven that...
Not very long, I don't think.
You recall what you did the...
Not specifically. Probably.
Do you recognize the man?
Is that? No.
What is it?
Well, for a moment, I thought it was someone else, but I was clearly mistaken.
So you don't recognize?
Afraid.
His name is...
What? Is he dead?
He is.
Well, I hope you find.
Are you in the habit?
What? Why?
I met your friend Darius. He told me...
All right, yes, I do enjoy it.
From time to time? More like...
Have you found the drug has had any...
I admit I'm not quite as quick as I used to be. But without it, I'm in con.
Is that right?
I fell off a horse when I was 15. And ever since then, my back's not been... The doctors haven't been able to help. I wish there were another way.
It might be worth seeking a more professional opinion about the...
Does the name Priscilla mean anything to you?
Priscilla? What does that have?
The name has come up in my investigation.
No, it isn't. I don't know anyone.
You certainly seem concerned about it.
How did you become...
Oh, well, I studied music. Once I completed my studies, I began writing symphonies in hopes of securing a patron, but... so, I decided to focus on choral composition.
And you enjoy...
Oh, yes, sir, immensely. I'm able to continue composing songs for our choir, as well as teach music to our young members. I take my church.
What else do you do?
Just a few things here and there, making sure the aisles...
So, what do you think of...
All right, the election.
Leroy. He beat out...
Oh, I suppose that's good. I think I may have voted.
It seems that all the prayer camp...
Have they? Blast. Excuse me.
Let's hope this chest...
Could I have another...
Yeah.
Do you know any...
Ned, well, yes, I do.
Your nephew?
Yeah?
Where might I find Ned?
Is everything all right? I always tell him just because he's training his body, that's no...
No, he hasn't got...
Oh, well, he lives in Lyon. At 511 Parks.
Right. I'll let you resume your...
Thank you.
Right this way, sir.
Thank you, my good man.
Well, you take a look at this place. Maybe you should consider doing some training yourself, Miles. What in the ether is that supposed to be? Then again, so... Hey, don't look that... This seems to be where Ned keeps his extra equipment, and assorted... Oh, look, maybe you can slip these on and go a couple of rounds with... And after that expert knockout you delivered Officer Grant, he won't... Some kind of martial art? Doesn't look like any I've ever heard. Makes you wonder if old Nettie boy... Just when I thought I'd see...
Excuse me.
Oh, hello. Who are you?
I'm Miles Fordham.
Right, of course.
I have a few questions.
Yes, all right.
Are you familiar with a man?
Never heard of him.
I have his portrait. Maybe you recognize him?
No. Huh. How about that?
How about what?
The detail in this ferrotype is a bit fuzzy, but his facial features and hair, they vaguely resemble mine.
You know, now that he mentions it, it's true. Lespée does bear a passing resemblance to this fellow. Not quite as handsome, though.
So, you know nothing about the murder outside the Silent Raven 4 nights ago?
That's right. I don't even know what the Silent Raven...
It's a bar in the...
Well, that explains it. For one, a man like me sets foot in that den of ruffians, and I'll have every Tom, Dick, and... Not that I couldn't take them, but I have better ways to train. Anyway, I don't drink. Dulls...
I see. Well...
I'm sorry I can't help you, Mr. You seem like an...
Tell me about your...
You know Tom?
I've met him, yes. He's the one who...
Oh, well, my uncle is, an interesting...
Is that an interesting...
I really wish you would take... I have the feeling that he's on some sort of drug.
What gives you that?
Well, most of the time he acts completely normal. He goes to work, visits with me, but some days his mood changes. He goes very solitary, won't leave his house. One time I went to visit him. I heard him yelling along with what sounded like furniture being knocked about. It only happened once, but it worried me.
Opium is one hell of a drug. It's a good thing you never got to that point with the soporific, or Adelaide would have thrown you out.
Are you all right?
Yeah.
What? Too soon?
Could you give me Tom's address?
You don't have it? I thought you said...
I visited him at...
But if he's there, why do you...
I have reason to believe...
That's a serious accusation.
Nothing concrete just yet, which is what...
Well, you're not the police. I'm sorry, but you'll need more than just... He...
Yes. Choir master.
And how will go into his... You're an odd man, Mr. Ford. In fact, maybe you should just stay...
Ah, wonderful.
Mr. Bunker.
Get out.
Huh. I think there were other conversation threads that I would have liked to talk to this person about.
Leave him be.
Excuse me. Does the name...
Nope.
I appreciate...
Yeah.
Moment.
Right.
Would you be able to remove the...
Yes, of course, sir. Just a few twists from old man.
Excellent. Would you be able to...
Suppose so, yes. But Cormac ain't... What do you want on this train, Hope?
I believe there's...
You don't?
It's quite true.
Well then, come on. This it then?
That's the one.
Right. There we are.
Thank you for...
Not a problem.
Detective work is a dirty job.
I really hope that... Ugh. This is almost as bad as the time I had to search for that stolen neck.
I'm really glad I didn't draw the short straw. Well, how about that?
Wish the police had found this so I wouldn't have to carry it around.
Nothing else down.
Moment of...
Right.
I wonder if you could tell me if he's tall, strong build, with a beard or mutton chops, dressing all in black and possibly...
Oh, hi. Cormac remembers...
What was he doing?
Kept going in and out of the bar. When he was inside, he stood near the voting booths.
And when he was out...
That.
Did you notice any...
Yes. Cormac noticed him come in and speak with Nicole.
Is that right? Do you know anyone named Priscilla?
Ah, that's not a name, Cormac, no.
Frankly, I'm surprised it's not the name of...
Thanks for your time. Excuse me.
Hi.
You know that description?
Yeah.
I spoke with Cormac, and he told me he saw you speak...
And you believed him? Cormac's a good...
I'd say he's twice as reliable as you are. Now tell me the truth, or I'll have you in as an accomplice.
All right. I don't know the man by name, but he came to me after the commotion outside and paid me I didn't ask any more questions, and I wasn't about...
That's not good enough. I need some way to find this man.
Well, I did notice he had a scar on his left cheek. Kind of looked like a... But that's all.
Suppose that'll have to... I appreciate...
Yeah.
You won't be much more help. I don't think he'll...
Hello, Jimbo.
All right.
Is the name?
Yes, that's my ship, the SS.
I see.
Of course. You always used to ask.
Thank you for your time.
You're welcome.
Can we talk for?
Certainly.
Upton, I need you to put out a bulletin.
Oh?
I don't know his name.
All right, could you describe...
He's average height.
All right.
I believe it's...
All right. Do you...
He has a beard.
I see. All right.
Thanks, Upton. Can we talk?
Certainly.
Can I try giving you that description?
Sure. Could you...
He's tall.
All right. What color...
I'm certain.
All right. Do you...
Yes, he has a...
Good. All right, All right, the bulletin is out.
Upton, just got your bulletin.
Hello, Giles.
As a matter of fact, I've got someone in the jail fitting your description perfectly.
You don't say.
Yup. Name's Harvey Presser. Got picked up a couple of days ago.
Thank you, Giles. You heard the man, Fordham. You've got yourself someone to interrogate over at Bow Street.
Pardon me.
Yes?
I found this pistol at the scene of the Laspaix.
It's all slimy.
Sitting at the bottom.
Oh. I suppose that's not as exciting as finding it inside. Did I ever tell you about that post-mortem, by the way?
No. I certainly don't want to hear about it now.
I should have something conclusive.
No, it'll give me...
Right. I've concluded my analysis, and this gun was definitely used to shoot Mr. List. The bullet I removed from his body is a perfect match.
Thank you, Edwards.
There's one more thing. I cleaned off some of the muck and found the initials JB etched into the handle.
Interesting.
My expertise with guns is purely forensic, so I can't determine if this is the gun's maker or the initials of its own. That's going to have to...
Thank you, Edward. Edwards.
Quite a great deal, unfortunately. Most people use it to calm the nerves or relieve pain.
Such as?
It depends, really. Most common are sweating, nausea, memory loss, or blurred vision. But more serious cases can lead to hallucination, violent mood swings. I just had a case in here a few weeks ago who died from an opium.
Doesn't sound like it.
Anytime.
I'll be going.
Take care.
Miles, have you ever noticed that this Jimbo fellow fits the description of the man loitering outside the taxidermy shop? The barmaid told us she saw someone matching that description at the Raven on election night. Not only that, Priscilla just so happens to be the name of the ship Jimbo works on. And the pistol used to murder Ronan has the initials JB etched on it. It could be a coincidence, but I think it's quite reasonable to consider him as a suspect.
Can we...
Certainly.
Upton, what do you have on this Harvey Presser?
Give me a moment, and... Here we are. He was picked up in a bar in Chumley after being identified as the leader of a cooping gang by one of his fellow gang members.
So much for loyal. Anything else?
Not much besides his...
That might be worth looking.
It's 5885 Riverview Road.
Ah, wonderful. Maybe afterward.
I'll let you get back to...
And you'd better do...
They spelled Jill
Fordham,
really weird.
You look even worse than the last time I saw you.
We can't all manage to keep looking as good as you, Giles.
What brings you back?
I'm looking to speak with your prisoner.
Presser? I just got off the horn with Upton about him. Seems you're not the only one interested.
Then I suppose it's lucky I got...
Suppose so.
What was he brought in for?
He's the suspected leader of a cooping gang. Makes me glad I didn't bother to vote. All those dirty politics are just a waste of time.
And people wonder why nothing in Parliament ever... He's watching.
Harvey Press.
Who's that?
Miles Ford.
What do you want from...
Just a few minutes of your...
Hardy ha. Ask what you want, but I'm not answering that.
Do you recognize the man?
Should I?
His name is Ronan Lespay.
That's a real shame.
Are you saying you know nothing about the murder outside the Silent?
Not a thing. I've never even heard of it.
Is that right? Because I've spoken to at least...
Yeah, and you're not police, so that doesn't...
This guy's starting to get on my nerves.
I hear you were arrested.
I don't have to tell you.
That's all the questions.
Good.
You got time?
Yes.
Did Ronan...
Priscilla? Who is she?
Just a name that's come...
I wonder if...
Ah, boy.
I've completed my investigation.
You have?
Actually...
Oh.
Those...
All right.
Just a moment. Yeah? What do you want?
Ooh, she doesn't look like the type to take any guff.
I'm a private investigator.
Private investigator?
I promise I won't take...
All right, come in. But try and keep it down. My daughter isn't feeling well and I don't want...
A man's coat. Seems Harvey wasn't expecting to be out for very long. Some of those modern steam cleaners. If they use them in this place, presumably that goes into the presser's... Seems to be a notice from the bank threatening to foreclose on this place if they're late on their rent payment again. No wonder Harvey's taken a second job. It seems peasants...
Mrs. Press?
Yeah.
You know a man?
Never heard of...
And you've never seen the man?
Nope. And I'm glad I haven't.
What does your husband do for...
Harvey? He's a traveling salesman. Sells steam-powered cleaners like the ones in the corner there.
Oh?
Doesn't make much money on account of most people being afraid of steam tech these days. But Harvey tries his best to provide for me and little Mary. He's a good man. The job takes him out of town for days at a time, but we get by.
And that's all he does?
What are you asking? You know something I don't?
No, not at all. I was just curious.
Oh, look, another husband keeping secrets from his wife. They're a copper...
So what do you do while you're...
Hang on there, what are you playing at? I'm a married...
I merely wanted to know a bit more about you, that's...
Is that your game? Asking innocent ladies about themselves so you can have your way?
She doesn't have to worry about being mistaken for innocent...
No, you know what? Just... Is your daughter...
She's just come down with a bit of something. This stew I'm making will put her right again. I've been giving her regular doses of Pink Bladder's Miracle Tonic, too. I'm sure she'll be back to tearing the house down again in a matter of days. Ticks after her father, that one.
Are you pleased with the election results?
Yeah, I'm glad that no-good high muck-a-muck Outwood was voted out. Maybe now they can finally get to work on that bridge to Gascone we've been...
But won't Leroy's opposition to Steam Tech be bad for your husband?
Maybe, but Harvey's always managed to land on his feet. If it comes down to it, I was never too keen on him selling those contraptions anyway.
I don't have any more questions.
Good.
Some of those modern steam cleaner. She... won't be much more. Leave him be. Let's not. I don't think he'll. He won't have any. Some kind of. Should have listened. Not a very. There.
A few more.
Whatever.
I had a little chat with your wife.
Mildred?
I may not be with the police anymore, but that doesn't mean I can't still get the information I need.
You didn't tell her about me being in jail, did you?
Don't worry. It was quite obvious your wife has no idea what you're involved in. As a man who values discretion, I thought it best not to shatter her illusion. Of course, I might change my mind.
I have to say, Miles, you've become a real natural at this tough cop role.
All right, fine.
Do you recognize the man?
Yes, I do. That's Mr. Lespay.
And how is it you know him?
I was assigned to watch him, and...
Assigned?
My employer.
I don't care about your employer. What I care about is what you were doing with Mr. Lespay.
Well, it was a cooping scheme. He was one of the people I was told to pick up.
Tell me what you know about...
The most important thing I can tell you...
Do you know who did?
Not a clue. I was inside. I went outside to see what had happened.
And what happened?
What do you think? I panicked. He was in my care. I wasn't expecting anyone to get killed.
I think Mr. Presser has a wildly different definition.
I went inside and gave the barmaid 10 crowns to keep her mouth shut. Clearly, that was... Then I went back home. Told my wife I was going away on a business. Good thing I did, too. I might get out of this with her.
What makes you so...
Me. I'm just a small fish, but I could talk and talk about whales. That's valuable information.
Quite the shrewd negotiator, this one. I think his skills have...
Is this your first...
Yeah, actually. Suppose you think I'm just some criminal scum mob. I'm not a bad man, Mr. Ford. You've met my family. I do...
I suppose no good deed...
You can say that.
Tell me more about...
I got paid to find men to vote for Atwood. Simple, really. Once I found a good mark, I followed him a bit, knocked him out, then took him to the coop, a little room I rented near the Raven. I had about 5 men on election night, including the Spay. Got them all liquored up and walked them up. Once each of them voted, we'd walk back over to the coop. I'd change their clothes, maybe give them a fake beard, and walk back for another vote. Did it for myself, too, so people would be less likely to notice. Kept it up for a few hours, until the murder.
That's all the questions I have for now.
Good. Leave me in peace.
Huh. I don't have anything else to do, but it seems weird.
You got time?
Yes.
I've completed mine.
You have?
It was James Bogroff. He's a sailor aboard the SS Priscilla, and up until recently, he was Ronan's lover.
His lover? You mean Ronan was...
Yes, it seems Ronan was leading a secret life.
So why did he do it? Why did Jimbo kill Ronan?
I believe it was a crime of passion, Mrs. Morgan. Ronan believed Jimbo had been seeing someone else. It was quite possible that they had a heated argument which went very wrong, and Ronan wound up dead.
And what about the clothes he was wearing? Or why he was in Chumley in the first place?
I'm afraid your brother fell victim to a cooping gang. They dragged him to Chumley and forced him to vote multiple times. He was wearing someone else's clothes as part of a disguise.
My poor brother.
Now I'll inform Miss Upton of my findings, and she'll send an officer along to arrest Mr. Bogroff. From there, justice will be served accordingly.
I see.
Begging your pardon, folks, but I'm looking for a James Bogroff, also known as Jimbo.
That's me, officer.
Mr. Bogroff, I'm placing you under arrest for the murder of Ronan Lespay.
What? But I didn't...
I suggest you remain silent until we get to the station for your questioning. Now come along, we haven't got all day.
You know, Miles, you've been coming in here a lot lately, but you've never looked quite this glum. What's going on?
I've bungled things pretty badly at home. Been staying with a friend the past couple of weeks.
I see. What happened?
I haven't been honest with my wife. Coming here and drowning my sorrows hasn't really helped, oddly enough. And yet, it's all I can do to keep from going crazy.
You know, Miles, I've seen and heard a lot of things over the years. Some of the stories would turn your hair white. But through it all, I've come to learn one thing. It's usually not too late to make things better, but only if you let yourself try.
Thank you for the advice, Patrick.
All I can do is give it, Miles. Whether you choose to take it or not is entirely up to you. Now, would you like another gin?
No, thank you. This time I really do need to be on my way. I should go and see how my wife is doing.
I see. Well, have a good night, Miles.
Who in the ether? Miles? This is a surprise.
Addie, it's so good to see you. I've been such an idiot lately.
Well, I'm glad you can admit to it. Would you like to come in?
Very much.
Was there something you wanted to talk about?
I've given it a lot of thought.
Miles, what are you doing? You know this is a terrible idea.
The truth?
About why I've been acting the way I have been since Bill died.
Well, go on. I'm listening.
Don't do it, Miles. You know it's a one-way ticket to Riverview if you do.
I've been hearing Bill's voice ever since he died.
Fordham, what is wrong with you?
His voice?
I can't believe this! You've just destroyed your life! I hope you realize that!
Yes, in my head, at all hours. That's why I was taking the soporific. It was the only way to keep him quiet. Or so I thought. Turns out that alcohol has the same effect.
What does he say to you?
The type of things he'd say when he was alive. Snarky comments, inappropriate jokes. Mainly he nags me to find the flower shop burglar. He thinks doing that will let him find peace and move on.
I see.
I told you you'd think I was crazy.
Don't be ridiculous, Miles. It's nothing like that. It's just, I wish you had told me sooner is all.
I know, but I was afraid.
Well, I'm glad you finally trusted me. You know, you could have all along.
So, you're all right with it?
It is quite a lot to take in. I think I'll need some time to mull it over. But what matters now is that we can work through this together.
I understand. Well, I should probably go. It was lovely to see you again, Addie.
Lovely to see you too, Miles.
Perhaps I'll stop by again next week?
Or sooner, if you'd like.
Sure. Like the men in white coats aren't gonna have you taken away by them.
Right.
Good night,
Fordham, wake up.
Huh? He just leapt over the side. I don't... Oh, Upton. What's going on?
Goodness, Fordham. You look terrible. Is everything all right?
Just had some trouble sleeping. More than usual.
Well, I hope you've rested enough, because I've got something very important to show you.
Oh, wonderful. If we're sharing information now, are you going to tell Upton about me as well?
What is it?
There's been a murder.
I assume this one is special somehow, or you wouldn't be bringing it to me.
I thought that great detectives never assumed.
There are exceptions to every rule.
Anyway, you're right. The victim in question is a member of Parliament, a man named Percival McDonough, to be precise. But this is the real corker. The murder is clearly the work of the Justice Killer.
The Justice Killer? Is that the mass murderer I've been hearing about?
The very same.
Why Justice Killer, though?
It's part of his modus operandi. He kills his victims with a single gunshot to the head, then writes the word justice.
Talk about melodrama.
The police are stumped. This is the killer's 5th victim, and there isn't a single lead.
So you want me to investigate?
Not just yet. First, I need you to look at these sketches.
You took crime scene sketches from the department?
Of course not. I made copies with the station's Pharaoh duplicator. These killings need to stop, and I believe you can succeed where the department has so far failed.
So, what am I looking for?
The police went over each crime scene with a fine-toothed comb and turned up practically no useful physical evidence. I want a second opinion from you. If you can find some sort of link between them, it might be possible to track this monster down.
It's a shot in the dark. I can't guarantee I'll find anything that the police didn't see, but...
Here are the 4 sketches. Have a look at them and see if you notice anything that might help us find this man.
What's the point? It's not like you're actually going to be able to investigate this case. If only you hadn't told Adelaide about me, I might share my thoughts with you. Whoever drew this was a hack. That looks more like a piece of toast than a flower. If only... Oh, were you hoping for some witty insight? Shame. I don't feel like looking at dead bodies right now. Is there something... I'm sure this is terribly relevant. I'm really not in the mood to be analyzing... Oh! Yeah, he's dead. Boring, just...
Interesting.
Oh, what? You actually found something without my help? I'm shocked. Wait, what's that? I see an important Maybe you should...
Upton?
What is...
About those crimes...
Yes?
I think I found...
I knew you would.
There's a single flower at each crime scene. They look
There is? You're right. One lily at...
Wait, what...
These flowers. They're lilies.
I don't believe it!
Upton, this is incredible. This is the lead I've been searching for.
What? You mean for another case?
The flower shop burglar. He was stealing Easter lilies. And I distinctly remember him saying something about his desire to uphold justice. At the time, I thought it was just the rambling of a lunatic, but now it seems so obvious.
So the flower shop burglar is the Justice Killer?
It seems too much of a coincidence otherwise.
Well, then that's wonderful. You can kill 2 birds with 1 stone. Excellent work, Fordham. I knew you could do it.
What exactly are the details?
The killings began a few months ago, and so far he's claimed 5 victims. The department wanted to keep this information out of the public eye to prevent a panic. But word is on the bright side, it makes your involvement in the case much less suspicious.
What can you tell me about the...
4 men from Chumley. Hannibal Kirkland, Reggie Willingham, Ennis Bowditch, and Burley Cause. No known connection between any of them aside from the borough they lived in. I have copies of the police reports from each of the crime scenes. Go ahead and take them.
Thank you, Upton. What are the details regarding the killer's latest victim?
As I mentioned, the victim is Percival McDonough, a member of Parliament. He was found this morning by his secretary in his office. I expect the official investigation is still underway.
So the killer managed to get into the Houses of Parliament.
You can say that again. It's the killer's first high-profile victim. It means...
I suppose I'll have to drop by. Everything all right?
Oh, I'm getting by. I expect things go back...
I haven't worn out my welcome here.
No, you're still tolerable.
You're starting to sound like I should get back.
Not...
Right. I think I have enough
Odd. I wasn't expecting company. Chief Snelling?
Uh-oh.
Upton, we need to talk. Fordham, I should have guessed I'd find you here.
Ah, Chief Snelling. What a pleasant surprise.
I'm equally pleased to see you, Fordham. Although, having you here does save me a bit of trouble.
Trouble?
Those are some rather interesting decorations. Would either of you care to explain how they got here?
And once again, the jig is up. I hope you can talk your way out of this one, too.
I brought them here, after I made duplicates and took them from the police department.
Nice try, Fordham, but I know for a fact that isn't true. The Ferroduplicator makes a report of every employee who uses it, as well as what was copied. A rather useful feature for instances such as these. Wouldn't you agree?
These gadgets are going to be the undoing of us all.
In any case, I did some digging and discovered some intriguing information. Upton, why have you been passing on classified police information to Mr. Fordham?
Because he's the best detective you ever had on the force, and you know it.
Is that right? Personally, I don't consider getting your partner killed the mark of a great detective. But what's done is done. Constance Upton, your employment with the New Britannia Police Department is hereby terminated.
But...
I should add that it's only because of your 25 years of dedicated service that I'm not pressing charges against you. But as for you, Fordham, I have enough evidence to place you under arrest for obstruction of justice and interfering with police investigations. Do you have anything to say in your defense before I take you in for questioning?
Yes, as a matter of fact, I do. I know who the Justice Killer is.
Fordham, if this is your idea of a diversion...
It's true. I found a link in the sketches of the crime scenes.
All right, let's hear it then. What do you think you found?
I'll tell you if you promise to let me take the case.
Out of the question, Fordham. This is a police matter.
And the police haven't made progress in months. Fordham figured it out in a matter of minutes. Admit it, Snelling. Fordham is your best shot at finding the killer. Are you gonna let your personal differences with the people of this city in danger?
Fine. I'll let you continue to operate as an assistant in this case, if you have actually found something of value. Now, what is this link?
He leaves a single Easter lily at each crime scene. The same type of flowers the burglar in the Chum was stealing.
I see. A tenuous link, but plausible. I'll give you until tomorrow afternoon. If you haven't come up with anything, I'm throwing you in jail.
Sounds fair to me.
And don't get any clever ideas about leaving town, either.
Come now, would I do something like that?
Fordham, it seems there's no telling what you might do. I'm probably a fool for not clapping you in irons right here and now. When you have something to report, come find me in my office. Don't make me regret this.
Well, that went better than I expected.
Except you're still fired. I didn't have a chance to get him to change his mind.
We'll worry about that after you catch the killer. In the meantime, I could use a drink. I'll see you later, Fordham.
Well, better get to work then. The clock is ticking.
Okay, I'm gonna take a break for now. All I can think of is Oliver Queen and You Have Failed This City.